Hey, everybody. Welcome to the first episode of the Burst Sports podcast. The name of our podcast is The Next Generation of Superstars, and we're very grateful to have our first athlete guest, Tailon Leitzsey, who is more than just an athlete. He's an athlete entrepreneur, and would love to hear your introduction, Tailon. Thank you for being on the show.
Appreciate you having me on, Grant. Didn't realize I was the first athlete either. That's pretty dope. So
it is. You're the first athlete. You know, I know you've been playing defensive back for Illinois for the past few years. You've had successful time there in Illinois so far. Hearing your nonprofit and your clothing brand you have on right now, the Rise in Silence Every Day. Kind of just talk a little bit more to our audience. Everything that you've started and created with, not only your nonprofit, but your clothing brand and everything you're doing that's really forming you into that athlete entrepreneur you are today.
Absolutely. So it all actually started, 5 years ago when I started on my journey to become a walk-on at the University of Illinois. Eventually, 3 years later, earn a scholarship. I started the clothing brand then, but was still kind of trying to figure out what was the true meaning behind it. At the time, I thought it was just a representation of my story in the sense of like becoming a walk-on and pushing through all the adversity at that point in my life to try to chase this dream and pursue of this dream that I had. But then as that 5 years went on and, NIL wasn't passed, so I was hitting a lot of roadblocks trying to figure out how to build this successful brand. I started to realize that the story of the brand was bigger than just that. It was a representation of from the first day I entered this world to where I'm at in my life now, from, being in the hospital, born in the hospital, and the doctors told my parents I wasn't going to make it. And then when I did make it, they told them I was going to have cerebral palsy. I was never going to walk. I probably wouldn't be able to talk and never really function in life. And 23 years later, I'm playing Division I football. I have my own business, have a daughter, running a nonprofit, So the story of the brand is really just to represent those people that push through adversity and in pursuit of their dreams, and to highlight those individuals. So something that's big for me with this brand is to highlight those people, and not just athletes, not just musicians, but highlight your entrepreneurs, highlight business owners, highlight community activists, all these different people that are pursuing their dreams and pushing through adversity on a daily basis. I'm trying to highlight those individuals. And that kind of ties in with the nonprofit as well, with that being an avenue for me to serve people through this brand. But through the nonprofit, obviously, I'm doing a lot for the youth and really trying to make an impact there. So 2023 is going to be a big year for us. We ran 2 football camps in 2021 and then another one in 2022, and also did a backpack drive. So those 2 events we're going to keep going annually. With this being my last year eligibility, I'll be stepping into more of that role of trying to partner with the university. So I've already been having those conversations with the athletic director, the head coach, make that happen. And, trying to do more though, trying to do more, implement more programs. And so working on starting a mentorship program, and, just trying to get in the community, really make a difference, and in a way that leaves a lasting impact that really alters people's lives for the better.
Right. No, it's incredible. And kind of just taking what you've said about your story, how impactful it is on the youth, because they look up to you and see you as kind of like that mentor and that role model for them, kind of date back to what started your first love for football and the game, what really got you into it, and kind of just had you really immersed in the sport.
It was actually, so it started at 3 years old, surprisingly. I had an older brother that was, at the time, he was 8. And he was playing football, so going to his practices, seeing him was something I was just like, I really want to do this. It looks fun, And I didn't find out until a lot later that my dad played Division I football as well. So he actually got sick when he was in college, and that's why he had to stop. He ended up having a few surgeries to remove some bacteria that was growing like in his sinuses that was actually starting to affect his brain. So had to end his football career there, but I really loved the game. Always wanted to play, kept putting the pads on, running around the house with the football and everything. So my dad was like, all right, let's start teaching him. So started teaching me the route tree at 3. And then I started playing flag football early, and I was like 6, 7. I kept telling my mom, I was like, look, I want to play tackle. My dad was trying to wait till I was 12. And my mom was like, well, if you want to play, we're going to sign him up. So she took me and signed me up. And then she called him and told me, hey, we done signed him up for football. He said, what you mean? Like, he playing tackle football now. So He was all right. Well, if you're gonna play, I'm a coach. So it really just went on from there. And it's been history ever since.
Right. No, it's awesome. And I think, kind of just hearing that, and then when you're kind of talking to the youth and doing all these camps, it's awesome for all of them to be able to relate to that, right? And kind of just hear how you've started. And it's, everyone starts at a certain point and they work their way up to get to the where they want to be. Kind of talk a little bit about, to our audience, what does that training look like, playing at the Division I level, like, definitely in season, but as well as the off season, whether it's the routine, your diet, what does that all kind of like entail as you go through your day to day, especially having academics and everything else on your plate?
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot of commitment. When you're signing up to do this, you're signing up. But a lot of people don't realize this becomes your job, and then you have another job, which is school as well. So you got to be successful in both. And I think that's why a lot of organizations look for college athletes, because of that understanding of how to prioritize two different things and be successful at two different things. But um, it's a grind for sure, because in season you're preparing for new opponents every week. So from the physical aspect of things, it takes a toll on you because you go in the weekend. You're going to war every week, and you're beating up on your body every
Yeah.
Saturday. And then the process starts right after the game. You got to start recovering, because Sunday we're going to watch film. We do a little recovery lift and stuff. Monday we got the day off, and then we back at it on Tuesday. And then you got Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. You don't really practice. It's walkthroughs, and then you're traveling. And then Saturday you play again. So it's a quick turnaround every week. So that's the tough part about the end season, is that you have 7 days, or essentially 6 days really, to prepare for the opponent that you're about to play. And you have to get your mind right, you have to get your body back, and you have to really immerse yourself in like learning their schemes, how they're trying to attack you, learning like the specific player I'm going against, especially at DB. I'm going against the outside receiver, the slot receiver. Like I have to learn what they do, how they're trying to attack me. And then for me, I played primarily on special teams, so I also had to study, and I played on all four. So all four schemes, I have to know what are our designers for the week, what are they going to try to do this week, and how can I combat that? So it's a lot that goes into the in season preparation, but I would say out of season is just as, if not more important, because out of season is where you really become prepared to handle a 12-game season. That we're in season from August until, for us, January. Our next game is January 2nd. So that's 6 months of your life that you got to be physically prepared to handle the beating that you're about to take on, and be able to put yourself in a position where, if you're trying to be successful, that you're not the one taking the beating, but you're giving the beating. But in the process, your body's still going to get beat up,
Right.
So it's a lot of mental preparation. It's a lot of physical preparation that goes into it. It's a lot of it's a lot that goes into the process in general, But from the winter workouts, getting up at 6 in the morning, or starting practice at 6 in the morning, and then go through mat drills, which is essentially like just a nonstop, like 45 minutes of hell, essentially, and then
Right.
and then you still got to spend time doing your individual drills to make sure that you're sharpening those tools as well. So it's a grind for sure. If it's not for the faint of heart, for sure.
Yeah. No, but it's awesome to be able to persevere and get through all of that.
Hmm.
You got to look back on your journey and see how much you've accomplished. And then it
Hmm.
really, it paints the picture and your legacy that you want to leave, right? On and off the field.
Absolutely.
And talking about, when you mentioned the bowl game coming up, I know you guys have that against Mississippi State on January 2nd. What does that preparation look for over these next couple of weeks, especially with your teammates and your coaches? And how are you guys preparing to enter that bowl game?
Yeah. So first off, RIP to Coach Leach, because their head coach just passed away. So definitely prayers up for those guys and
Yeah,
his family.
that's very
But
sad.
in terms of the preparation, it's different because we have a longer time period to prepare for this game. So you go back and you try to watch all 12 of their, not try, you watch all 12 of their games and try to figure out what are their tendencies, what are they trying to do, and that'll kind of hold true. That's who they are, that's their identity. Obviously, because they have this 4-week stretch, there's going to be different things that they try to throw in there, but that's their identity won't change. So, figuring out what that is, who their guys are that they're trying to get the ball to, and their schemes overall. So it's a lot of film. Right now we're doing a lot more weight room stuff than practice. We only been practicing um, in pads, I should say. We only been practicing 2 days or 1 day a week. But we do a lot of weight room stuff. We still get our drills in to keep your body fresh. You still got to stay in shape. Still got to keep your body strong. So the first week was really a lot more. We lifted, but it was to a lot of recovery in there as well. This week has been a lot more physically demanding in terms of that we upped up the training, and are doing a little bit more in the weight room now. Like pushing the prowlers and stuff like that. And then next week we'll be practicing again, and we'll still be lifting. So it probably won't be practices like in season, but we'll be back to wearing pads and out there again just to get back to it, full stride. Because and then after that we go home for Christmas and then we fly out to Tampa, and it gets real then. We'll be in Tampa getting ready for the game.
That's awesome. Well, I'm wishing you guys the best of luck during that time period.
Thank
We'll
you.
kind of switch gears, and I know we talked a little bit earlier about you being that athlete entrepreneur. When you saw the NIL, just getting legitimized across the nation, I know each state has their own regulations right now, but when you saw that happen, a little over a year ago, what was your kind of initial thoughts? How do you see that playing into everything you're creating with your clothing brand, with your nonprofit, with just everything that you stand for and represent with your story? How did you kind of see all that playing together when everything was passed?
I would say the main thing that I was excited for is I got the opportunity to build the things that I wanted to build. You know what I mean? Because prior to NIL being passed, the NCAA owned the rights to my name, my image, my likeness. And so what people didn't realize, when you decided to go play college football, and at the time when I first came, I wasn't on scholarship. So this isn't just scholarship athletes, just any athlete. You
Right.
sign up to go play college sports, you don't own your name, image, and likeness anymore. And I think people didn't really register that, like how you, Grant, could go start a business. I had a clothing brand when I came into college, and they literally told me, take your name off all the paperwork, take your name off the website, take all your pictures off the website. You can't be on the Instagram anymore. So it's like, I can't even promote something I built. You know what I mean? So that was, So I was excited for the opportunity to be able to do the things and pursue some of the things that I had a passion to do. And it also I was glad at the timing in terms of I had got to a point in my life where I was starting to realize the platform that I had, some of the passions that I had for helping other people. I didn't have to wait to start doing it, and prior to NIL, I wouldn't have been able to start a nonprofit, but with NIL being passed, I had the opportunity to do that. And thankfully, I had a lot of people and resources around me that were able to help me learn what a nonprofit was, how to successfully start doing it. I'm still learning. Obviously, you don't learn everything in a year's time, but it's been amazing, honestly, because it's put me in a position where no matter what, after football, I'll be good. Because of just the opportunities that have been presented and I've taken advantage of. So it's been awesome to see, not only for myself, but for other people, that ability they've been able to kind of take control of their destiny and kind of control, life after sports, because that's the thing in sports in general. You're on a clock and you can't play forever. Even Tom Brady, he's not going to be able to play football forever as much as we want him to. Kobe couldn't play basketball forever. LeBron's not going. He's going to retire eventually. So how are you setting yourself up for success when you're done is the main thing. And for me, I use football as a tool to get a platform and be able to create opportunities for other people and do some of the things that I'm passionate about in terms of helping other people and serving the youth and being able to be a mentor and make differences in other people's lives. So it's been a blessing for me for sure.
Yeah, no, it's incredible. And I think that kind of ties back into, when we first met, and then kind of our mission that we started last year was that we want to put the power back in athletes' hands, right? With the creator economy and everything else that's evolving, the athlete should have every right to their name, image, and likeness and be able to promote the stuff they want to promote and receive that compensation in return, because you never know when that next play or whatever happens, and that's like your season, and that's your career ending injury. And then what do you have lined up after? Right. And so it's about setting yourself up for success early on. And I think that's what is so powerful about what we share for sports, and as well what you're sharing with your brand and your overall just your brand in general. It's so crucial to be able to set yourself up for that long-term success on and off the field. And it's just very powerful to be able to do that. So I think everything you stand for and represent is awesome on that front. Now kind of turning into what we're doing in the Web3 world, how it's so new to everybody, right? Everyone's kind of just trying to understand more about this whole Web 3.0. What does it entail? How is everything operating? I mean, we saw all this stuff with FTX crash and everything else that's going on. But then just recently in the past couple of weeks, being able to launch your brand on our partner Virtual Stacks' platform and kind of seeing that initial glimpse. What are your kind of thoughts on the Web3 space that we're tying in to NIL and athletes like yourself?
I like it personally, and this is why. With anything, there's always going to be ups and downs. When the internet first started, there was ups and downs. There's even still, the internet's been around for over 20 years now, and there's still people worried about data security breaches and things like that. So stuff's always going to happen. So how I look at the Web3 spaces, this is like the new wave of essentially like the internet. And we have an opportunity to get in and build something early within this. Anything that's successful, any business you look at that from the internet, and Google, they all started in those early stages of the business. You got to be ready for the ups and downs of it. So with me being able to launch something within the Web3 space is something that I've been interested in trying to learn more about, but you really can't learn about something until you're really in it. I'm not fully at least. So I kind of got involved with some other things prior to this, but this was like the first where it's like, this is my collection launching. So it was pretty dope to get that experience, kind of see the background ins and out of things. And it's a great opportunity for people like you, me and you talked about when you first told me about the opportunity for me kind of take control of my future. And for me, I'm utilizing it for a revenue to raise money for my nonprofit, so that I was able to make that donation from all the stacks to the nonprofit. So it'll help me put on more programs for the kids. So it's just kind of like another stream of income that I can bring in to raise money for the programs that I'm trying to put on for the kids. And so I think it's awesome. You're obviously gonna run into some negative situations and people within the space, but overall, I think it's a positive space, a good place that people need to learn more about. And I would suggest that people get involved with something that they trust, or try to learn about it before you just start throwing a bunch of money into it, and understand that you might take some losses in the process, but you're gonna learn in that too. So get involved and learn what it is.
Yeah, no, and that's very well said. I mean, I think it's like a building block, right? And we also stress at Burst is that the educational aspect of things. When we talk to different sports agents and brands, all over the U.S., and the biggest component for us is how can we educate all of our athletes and their fans, about the Web3 space and what is it evolving into, and how can they understand it in a way that makes sense to them. And I think education is important in anything, right? When you work with the youth and your nonprofit, when you're pitching your clothing brand and doing anything that you're doing entrepreneurially, especially even just teaching football skills, right? You want to be able to educate the people that look up to you. You want to be able to educate the people around you. That's something that's just so big for us going into 2023 is the educational component of Web3. When we do these events, whether it's digital, like on Zoom right now, or whether it's in person, we want to be able to show that educational component so people can really understand everything about it in Web3, and especially just kind of diving into it, right? You immersed yourself, you did the education before and understood what you were getting into, and it's a continual learning process even after. So I think the experience in anything is always going to give that competitive advantage to anyone who actually takes that leap of faith to dive in.
Absolutely. And then another thing I like too is that, especially with like the Virtual Stacks platform, is so when the people donate through like PayPal to my nonprofit, right? I can send them emails and stuff, but it's not the same as like them. I can't really showcase what their contributions have done. But with the virtual stacks platform, I can directly show like, look, this is what you've supported and raised this much money, and this is what I was able to do with that. You know what I mean? So it's kind of more engaging where people can kind of not really feel good about themselves and see that their contributions are making a true impact, and it's not just they're investing this money and nothing's happening with it, so I think it's pretty, it's a, like I said, an awesome opportunity, and a place where I'm looking forward to trying to continue to build my brand and connect with my supporters, and
100%.
just show them how they've been able to help the youth here in Champaign-Urbana.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. You hit it right on the nail. I think going, from that into, we spoke a lot about just your career and everything you've done so far and what you're doing and contributing to the youth. What does your life look like? And I know it's hard to say right now, but what do you want to really have your legacy look like after football? What is something that's you're passionate about all these other things right now, but what does it look
Mhm.
like 10 years from now? Let's say you're out of the NFL and you're retired. What does it look like life after football, right, for you?
Um, Honestly, I'm still trying to figure that out. I know I will continually build my clothing brand, continue to, um, build this nonprofit. And I would say the vision that I have for, let's say, 10 years from now is that I'm in a position where I'm able to take care of my family, able to truly help other people and walk them through how to like change their life in a way that puts them in a position to really be successful and create opportunities for other people, and that I have freedom of time to be able to enjoy spending time with my daughter and any other kids that I have at that point, and just my family in general, because my freedom of time is something that is very important to me. And my dad worked very hard to make sure me, my brother, and my sister could grow up in a safe environment and provide for us on a day to day, but he also sacrificed a lot of time to make sure he did that. And I want to kind of not only return the favor to him by helping, allow him to be able to free up his time for real, which he's taking some great steps in doing. But also just, break that cycle of where you got to work all the time to take care of your family, where I'm working, but it doesn't require me to physically be present to, have this income coming in and taking care of us.
Right.
So that's what I would say, and what I would envision myself in 10 years. I don't know exactly, you know, clear path of how I'm gonna get there right now, but I know God's gonna guide me. So I'm gonna
100%.
just stay obedient and keep working.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. That's awesome. And speaking of family, I know you have a daughter right now. What are some
Mhm.
lessons that you kind of preach to her and kind of showcase as a role model to your daughter? I know I saw that video when she high-fived you when you're walking through the tunnel into the football game. So it looks like she looks up to you and really sees you as that idol. So what are some lessons that you really preach to her?
Um, a few, I would say, one being, trying to show her what it looks like to go after her dreams,
Yeah,
because I could tell you all day, like, oh, you can do anything you want. But if I don't walk the walk, then those are just words. So trying to show her what that looks like, what the commitment that takes, the discipline it takes to do that. And then the next thing would be just how to be present and enjoy life, and that things aren't always gonna go great. And I hope when she gets older and she really starts understanding that, I'm not perfect, but I'm always trying my best to do and be the best I can be for myself, and also for her mom, and everybody else that's around, so that times aren't always going to be easy. It's going to be tough, but with a smile on your face, keep going through it, and you'll make it through. So
yeah,
she's I would say she's probably taught me a lot more than I've taught her so far, because that little girl changed my life, and um, it's just been amazing. Being a father is definitely something that it's hard to put into words, the joy it brings, but it changes you in ways that you never thought you could be changed. And especially with, having a little girl, and, she's like, she looks at me right now like I'm a superhero. If it's a car in her way, she like, Daddy, come move this. So, that's how she views me right now. So it's awesome.
Yeah, no, it's incredible. Well, I think we're going to leave our fans and audience on one last note here, Tailon. What are, to all your fans right now, what are 3 lessons that you've learned, leading up to just everything you've experienced in life so far? What would be 3 lessons you would kind of give back to the people paying attention, especially part of your journey right now?
I would say number one, God's put us on this earth to serve other people in some capacity. So whatever it is, that if you're trying to find your purpose in life, when you just start doing things, serving other people in different ways that you're passionate about, but that is also helping other people, because that's what we've been put on this earth to do. Second would be to truly pursue your dreams, and that's not saying like drop everything you're doing. If you got you got 5 kids, you can't just walk out of your job and be like, I'm about to go be an astronaut. You have no experience, but take steps to try to get there. So come up with a plan and start executing on those plans. So if you say you're going to do this, go do it. Don't let it linger and wait, because you're only as good as the promises you keep to yourself. And I think that's something that I've learned on this journey, is that the reason that I've gotten to the point where I am now, where I'm 23, and when people hear me talk, they don't realize I'm 23, because I've gained a lot of life experience, but it's really just everything that I tell myself I'm gonna do, I write it down and I make sure I go execute on it.
Right.
And then the last thing would be, especially for young people, to realize that when you graduate college or you graduate high school, if you're not going to college and you have these goals, if you don't hit it right away, that's fine, but keep going, because your life's not over. If you're still breathing, and it's you have this vision, and God's got you here for a purpose. So keep pushing towards that. You know what I mean? Keep asking Him what that purpose is, and keep working towards it, because eventually you'll get it. The vision's in your head for a reason. And understand that the vision was given to you for a reason. It wasn't given to somebody else. So don't worry about if other people believe in it or not. Even with my clothing brand, people didn't believe in it. When I said I was going to transfer from my old school to come to the University of Illinois, people didn't believe that I could do it. And what I did is I stopped telling people what I was going to do. I just went and did it. So I think that's the best piece of advice that I've learned so far on my journey in life. And it's put me in a place where I can honestly say I have a lot of opportunities right now, whether I want to go pursue the NFL or not. I know I got a lot of opportunities in front of me. So I'm trying to see which one is the best route for me to go for my family and for myself is the next step. So January, I'll be figuring that out, but just trying to be present in those moments.
It's awesome. I mean, Tailon, you were a true definition of an athlete entrepreneur. Everything you said in those 3 lessons definitely resonates with myself. And I think just our whole brand here at Burst of what we're trying to create is to go for it, right? To actually go and create that vision that you want into reality. And you're doing that on everything on your front, with football, the clothing brand, your nonprofit. And it's truly, truly special. So I want to thank you again for being a guest on the Next Generation of Superstars podcast. Please look out for Tailon in the bowl game coming up in a couple of weeks, and definitely look out for him for years to come and everything he's doing in all his ventures. So I appreciate it again, and thanks for being on the show.
Appreciate you, Grant.